We're going to talk a little bit about multiple offers and working with buyers. I know that in some areas at the moment, multiple offers are settling down. However, there are still all kinds of pockets where multiple offer situations are hot. So, as with anything in real estate, today it is slowed down a little bit. Tomorrow it'll pick up. So we need you to be prepared and know what you're doing when you're working with buyers and multiple offers. Always make sure to represent your buyer to the best of your ability. Education and prior preparation is the key factor in ensuring a smooth process and having a satisfied client. As we know, that is absolutely true. The more you are prepared, the easier things go in the way of your explanations to clients, their understanding of the process. And then, of course, if you're prepared, presenting an offer goes much more smoothly. So that's what we're going to be talking about. And this is just a quick overview about an offer. And there is nothing truer than this little quote here: when closing problems arise, the agreement of purchase and sale becomes the best read paper in town. Be sure your agreements can stand up to the test, read and understand everything, double check the details for accuracy. We're going to be repeating this several times within this quick little session, but it's absolutely true. Things are never a problem until they're a problem. Then the first thing that happens is, whether it is lawyers, a court, RICO, or just buyers and sellers lawyers, first thing they do is scrutinize the documents and make sure that they're complete and accurate, and any error in documents becomes a real problem. So when you're preparing an offer, and this applies to any offer, you must be particularly careful when you find yourself in a position of multiple representation, when you're representing both the buyer and the seller. Just beware of that. You must be impartial, equally protect the interests of the seller and the buyer, together with a duty of full disclosure to both parties, with the following exceptions. The price the seller is likely to accept, you cannot disclose that to a buyer. The asking price is the asking price. The buyer must make their own decision as to offering price. It says, unless otherwise instructed in writing, that would be the seller's instruction. You cannot disclose the motivation of or the personal information about either the seller or the buyer, unless otherwise instructed in writing by the party to which this information applies. So you cannot tell a buyer that the seller is going through a divorce or an illness or something like that, and that's why they're selling the home, nor can you disclose the buyer's position as to why they have an interest in buying the property. The listing brokerage shall not disclose to the buyer any terms of any other offer. We cannot disclose what is in an offer. So the buyer, if you are in a competition, your buyer cannot know the terms of the other offers. Whenever possible, try to avoid multiple representation. If a buyer is attracted to your listing through an ad, a for sale sign, or your website, you may choose to provide customer service rather than client service to that individual. You do have that choice when you are discussing representation with a buyer who has come to you and you're already representing the seller. Excuse me, I'm getting hoarse. A reminder: the sellers of our company listings, regardless of which office, are clients of all salespeople in the company. And that's just a little reminder about multiple representation and how it happens throughout our brokerage. So one of our Hamilton agents brings you an offer and you're registered out of the Newmarket office, it's still multiple representation. Plain language forms can be your friend. TREB provides us with plain language forms that can help you explain what your buyer and seller is signing. Sometimes the language they use in their explanations is easier for the public to understand. So take a look on TREB and you can pull those forms off. The explanations, I believe, are in red. Clauses. Please understand what clauses are saying and explain how they affect the deal. Do not rely on your front desk to put clauses in for you. It's your duty to build an appropriate offer. Be aware of the clauses and their meanings already in the pre-printed forms. Do not cause ambiguity by repeating these clauses. Every year we do forms and clauses update. This year in the agreement of purchase and sale, they've already put in the authority to use electronic signatures. So that doesn't have to be an additional clause. Remember that it's up to your client on what they want with regards to clauses, negotiating price, etc. Involve them in the process, giving them guidance and direction. So most of you know that when we do a quick start, I usually give you our most commonly used clauses and ask you to review them so that you know what's available to you. Make sure that whatever instructions your clients have, that you can find the appropriate clauses. How do you decide what clauses to include in the offer? Many clauses are relatively routine and are used in most offers. An example of that is the direction about the buyer paying the balance. That's usually what we start most Schedule A's with. Speak with your manager to better understand the use and selection of clauses. Some of them can be a little bit tricky, but there are some you can absolutely sit down and decide by looking at two clauses which is the appropriate one. Attend the company's forms and clauses training seminar. Review our commonly used clauses and templates with suggested clauses in web forms. We've set up pretty much all types of transactions for you in web forms with suggested clauses. You by no means have to include all of them, but it gives you an idea of what you can include in certain transactions. So that's just general information on offers. And now we're going to go into talking about representing a buyer in multiples. The most important thing for hopefully success is preparing your client. You need to educate your buyer with regards to how the multiple offer situation will work. The buyer should be given direction on how strong their offer needs to be to compete and hopefully win the bidding process. I think we've all had examples of clients not being prepared and they're being advised by outside parties and they're going into a multiple offer situation and they're being advised by somebody who bought a house 30 years ago who will say, well, go in and try and negotiate a lower price. In multiple offer situations, we've been watching what's happening. We know that's not going to work. So we advise them and hopefully they listen to us because you've educated them as to what's going to happen. You're going to suggest that they prepare and have available their deposit in the form of bank draft. A bank draft is easier to return to the bank than a certified check. So if they are unsuccessful, that bank draft can go right back to the bank and right back into their account. Have a pre-approval letter available. You want to be able to assure the sellers that your clients can afford this property. The buyer may decide to remove important conditions such as home inspection, financing, and or the sale of their own home from their offer. If they decide to remove these conditions, they should be doing this at their own risk. They have to, and you must have them sign the form called Conditions in Offer Buyer Acknowledgement. It's Form 127, and I have attached it at the end of this session. So your buyer should be doing this of their own volition, but understanding the consequences of removing those conditions. My next item here is type a strong offer. The appearance of your offer on paper will be a huge factor in the seller's decision to accept. This is often a balancing act between protecting your client and ensuring you have a clean and attractive offer. Oftentimes, if a seller sees Schedule A that is 4 pages long with all sorts of clauses in there that may or may not apply to their property, it scares them. So try to keep it as concise as possible. Make sure your buyer is comfortable with all the conditions or absence of conditions, with the price and with the deposit. Use your best judgment to advise on unnecessary clauses. Couple of things to shorten up your offers here. If you're using a stigma clause in a new property, maybe just Googling the address will help put your buyer's minds at ease that you don't need that clause in there. Or broom swept condition in a property that's already spotless, that may be overkill. So use some judgment. Verify the details in the offer. I can't tell you the number of times that I have been sitting with a seller and an offer comes in and I would love to accept that offer. And I'm not going to take the chance of doing a sign back to correct all of the mistakes in the offer. So verify the names, the property, legal description, the inclusions, exclusions, preferred closing date. You need to type an accurate offer that can be accepted without a sign back. If there are mistakes made in the offer, hopefully they're not yours. Hopefully they're coming to you from the seller's agent in the sign back. But when you're presenting your offer, give them something they can accept. Schedule B, if it's applicable, is included with the offer. This is not a separate document. I don't know how many times we've seen it floating around as an additional document. It's not. It is part of your offer. It is referenced in the offer. Send it with the offer. Read it, understand it, and change it only if it harms your client. When you're going into multiple offers, our job is not to teach the listing brokerage what should or should not be in their Schedule B. Try not to cause any kind of controversy at that point, and accept what's in their Schedule B as long as you understand everything in there, and make sure there's nothing in there that can harm your client. Okay, register your offer early. If you register your buyer's offer early, you will be kept up to date with any changes in the offer, presentation time or date, and the number of offers. You may also be able to scare off other offers. Agents also tend to give presentation priority to early offers. Whether that matters or not, I don't know, but when you have 10 or 12 offers on the table, typically the sellers are paying attention to all the details in the first couple of offers, and they're paying attention to your description of the buyers, etc. By the time they hit the fourth offer, they're sort of mesmerized and just sort of skimming over numbers at that point. Also scaring off other offers. More and more now, buyers do not want to compete. So if your buyer goes in and registers their offer early, it can oftentimes be an advantage and likely scare off one or two offers. Present your offer. Check the listing to see if there are any instructions by the listing agent as to how the offer process will be handled. Following these instructions may give you an advantage, as the sellers and their agent will see that you are being able to ensure a conflict-free professional real estate trade experience. What they're seeing is when you're following those instructions and sort of working with the seller's agents, they're seeing that you're a professional, you're not going to cause them problems throughout the process. Whenever possible, present your offer in person. I know that we've been locked down for a couple of years, and doing things through AuthentiSign has become the norm. I will tell you, whenever you get the opportunity, get in there and present in person. Give your clients the best opportunity to win the property. Some tips that have worked well are, again, bring the bank draft for the deposit with you. Have a letter of pre-approval for financing. Briefly compliment the sellers. Talk up or sell the home and your clients, how much your clients love the home, how the pink bedroom would be wonderful for their daughter. The layout of the home is perfect for these clients' needs, etc., the neighborhood, so on and so forth. You can even write a letter to the sellers explaining how excited your buyers are about the property. We found recently that those long flowery letters from the buyers directly may or may not be an advantage. Sellers are kind of looking at those as insincere. However, a letter from you with sort of specific details of your buyer's situation, their financial ability, their preference for open communication to make the process run smoothly, all of that can be an advantage. Always present yourself in a professional manner as representing your buyer's best interests, and this is one of the ways that you can do it. How to maximize winning the offer. It's important to educate your buyer in the process of presenting a competitive offer. Giving the buyer comparable sales data and an educated opinion of value will ensure that your buyer can make an informed decision on price. The following dialogue will aid in giving the strongest offer and ensuring they are not disappointed should they not win the bid. The first thing is fair market value. Establish a range for your clients. Do a thorough CMA and consider the direction of the market. You always want to get ahead of the market a little bit. So if you're working in an upswinging market, you may want to offer a little bit more than what your CMA indicates. If things are slowing down a little bit, you may want to offer a little less than what the CMA indicates. Also take into consideration how many other offers you're going to be competing against. So based on the data, you can say to them, Mr. and Mrs. Buyer, based on the data I've provided you, what do you think fair market value would be? And you can get into a conversation with them about that. You can also indicate to them that the more offers, the higher the price. Based on the number of offers, we can statistically give a rough idea of how high this may go. And again, you're doing rough idea because you don't know what other people are going to offer. So 2 offers on a property, typically the property will sell for full price, right around that range. Each incremental offer, the price will go up. So each offer incrementally, the price will go up, what, 2%, 3%, sort of take into account a property that's sold where you know how many offers there were and what it actually sold for as opposed to asking price. Figure these things out, work with your CMA, work with your buyers. Establishing an offer price. You need to inform your buyer that regardless if the listing agent gives us incremental opportunities to improve or not, it's important to give our best offer up front. You may not get a second chance, and I don't want to lose this house for you. Be very clear with your buyers that the seller has options, and one of those options is to accept an offer that they really like without a sign back and without asking you to improve your offer. So put your best foot forward. A lot of sellers do give preference to buyers who did come forward with very strongly right in the beginning. So then once you've established a price, that you're going to prepare the offer at, there are a couple of really important questions to ask your buyers. And the first one would be, so you'd like to try 820. Let me ask you a question. If the agent accepts another offer, or if the seller accepts another offer at 825, tomorrow will you be upset with me? If they say yes, you need to improve that offer of 820 to 825. And then I would continue asking those questions. If 825 is your offer and somebody comes in at 829, would you be upset if you lost? And you will, by asking that question directly, you will hit their maximum of what they are willing to offer, where if somebody beats them, they're going to say to themselves, okay, I'm happy. We gave it our best shot. Those people offered $2,000 more and they got it. More power to them. Also, the other thing that you want to do when you're looking at offering price is even numbers as opposed to adding a little bit extra. At this point, probe different numbers to ensure an extra 500 on a round number could help if the offer is close. So say to your client, you know, oftentimes most people are offering in round numbers. If we added another $500, $600 to the price, and it helps the seller make up their mind, are you good with that? So have that discussion with your buyers, okay? Remind them they do not have to go up any further. Should they get a second or third chance or opportunity, they can stick to their price that they initially put in. The second question is also extremely important. Ensure you didn't push the people too far. So you've established that if they offered, let's say, $829,500, would they be upset if somebody got it for $830,000? They've said, no, we're not going to go any higher. So your second question to them is, I want to make sure there are no regrets tomorrow, and I know you're giving your best offer. However, I really don't want you to feel that I pushed you too far either. Tomorrow, if you purchase this house at $828,500, will you feel you paid too much and be upset with me? And that gives them a chance to really think through the numbers and how they're going to feel if they do win the offer at their high price. By going through this process, you'll ensure your people have been given the best chance to buy the house and they can't be upset with you. Not only excuse me, have you done everything you could to minimize any disappointment? You've also ensured that your client will continue to work with you should they not win the offer. So they will feel completely confident that you didn't push them, but you gave them every opportunity to put in their best offer. We're going to go into when you remove conditions, and we cannot stress this strongly enough. This is going to be a repeat over and over and over again. We're already seeing a little bit of buyer's remorse right now. And the first thing, I've already heard it twice this week, is buyers are saying, we can't get our financing. We didn't know that we were going in firm. And of course, it's not true, but you need to be able to prove it and protect yourself. So when your buyer is removing important conditions from their offer, such as conditions on financing, building inspection, or the sale of their property, include the conditions in the offer and have the buyer remove them by striking them out and initialing the change. Tips if the buyer is removing important conditions. Okay, so let's say they tell you they want to go with an unconditional offer. Financing, ask to see the buyer's approval. Speak to their lender. Satisfy yourself so that you can represent their best interests, that they can afford the property. Building inspection. I would suggest that if they don't want a building inspection in a competitive offer situation, they have a pre-inspection done. That is a nice short inspection, just hitting the major structural and mechanical systems of the home. You can usually get that done in half hour to 45 minutes, have an inspector on standby to do it with you when the right property comes along. You can also suggest to them that they bring someone whose opinion they value, preferably somebody in construction, that they accompany all of you to the viewing and take a look at the mechanicals and a few of the things that are major items that would be important to them. At the same time, you can point out and discuss any obvious problematic items. If you're discussing problematic items with your clients and they're saying, yes, we see it, but we'll look after it, we really want this property, document that. Just document it in your own files. Just try to protect yourself in these situations. Sale of buyer's property. If they own a property and they're not going to put in a condition on the sale of their property, do your CMA on that property, discuss it with them, make sure that their expectations are reasonable as to what their property will sell for. So those are just a few tips if the buyer is removing important conditions. In addition, you're going to have your buyer acknowledge that they are aware of the importance of deleting conditions by completing Form 127, Conditions in Offer Buyer Acknowledgement. This form is so important. In addition to them striking out the conditions in the offer and initialing that, having the discussion a second time with them when they are not putting in those conditions in the offer and that they understand what they are doing. It is proof when buyers are suddenly saying that you did not explain the process to them. As I said, we have already found with market conditions softening a little bit. We've already had this discussion twice this week where buyers have said they didn't realize they were putting in a firm offer. So that's what we are talking about in multiple offers. I am going to open up for any discussions, any questions. I'm hoping some of you will address us with some of your own experiences so that we can all learn a little bit. Is there any input, questions, suggestions, any of that from any of you? What are you experiencing right now?
Hi, Isabel. This is Heidi Cabuyao. How are you?
Hi, Heidi. I'm good. How are you?
I just would like to share an experience that I was so devastated. We are in the middle of the presentation. I guess we are 4 or 5 offers, and
Yes.
we are almost there. Second round we added, and then the seller's agent said there is a commission reduction to 1%. And I said, hello, you did not mention it before, but anyways, we've lost it, but I will not accept 1%. We are on the same amount.
Right. Was the offer someone, was the buyer, the listing agent's own client? Was it somebody within their office?
No.
Nothing like that. Okay. They are supposed to inform you if there are any commission advantages. They're supposed to do it in writing before the offer presentation, or give you an opportunity to improve your offer if that happens. I know what's supposed to happen and what does happen can oftentimes be two different things. We're suggesting on our end, when it's your listing, that you get your, you can ask your seller to sign off on a form saying that you're not accepting commission reductions.
Oh.
Because what that does is oftentimes it'll scare off an offer, and you have to be able to explain to your seller that by not allowing commission reductions, you're keeping more offers on the table and in play and in competition, and you usually get a higher price that way. So you don't want to be scaring off the competition.
I know, I'm a little bit, and it's so sad for me to explain to the client that, well, the client can see now how much it was sold the next day. Heidi, we are on the same amount. And I just made up myself to explain that blah, blah, blah. And I said, but it is very, very, very hard for me.
It's very difficult for you. It's difficult to explain to the client. The one thing that we do have to do is when we are preparing our buyers, we have to let them know that the seller can make any decision they want to. And they don't have to explain their decisions to us. They can accept an offer that is the same as another one for whatever reason. They can accept an offer that is lower than something that you have offered, and they don't owe you any explanation. Maybe they like that buyer better walking through the house. Maybe they had children the same age as the sellers, or whatever the reason. They like the same type of dog, who knows? But they do not owe an explanation, and they can choose whichever offer they want. In most cases, a seller will choose something that works best for them in the way of a closing, the highest price, of course, and the best deposit. Those are typically what drive a seller, but not necessarily only those things.
I know, but anyway, I have explained it myself. I covered myself and everything, but then it is one of an experience that I would like to share to the team.
Yeah, if you're shopping up in this northern area a little bit, we're seeing more and more properties come on the market. So hopefully your buyer will find something.
Oh, we already found one. Yeah.
Oh, great.
We did not stop, but what I'm saying, I'm just sharing it for the other agents, and I have to call the manager of Newmarket. I even called Peter Holgate. I was devastated because the listing agent is from Hamilton, but then what can we do?
Yeah, all you can do is move on and tell your buyers that it wasn't meant to be, because it wasn't, and they found the perfect home after that. Okay.
Thank you. Yeah,
thank you. Okay, let's see. Aneta has something, has her
Yes.
hand up? Yeah,
Yes, I just want to confirm what I just heard. Form 127,
yes,
when dealing with mortgage, financial condition.
yes.
So you explained that it needs to be on both or offer and form
Okay,
127.
so typically
correct?
we recommend that you put on your buyer's behalf that you put in a condition that they get satisfactory financing. They say to you, listen, we've gone in twice. Here is my mortgage pre-approval. You can call my lender. We're good for the money. We're not going to have that condition in there. So you say to them, well, I put it in so you can strike it out. And then after that, you ask them to sign off on Form 127. Form 127 says that they are not including a condition on financing the above property. So you've included the property address, and you say to them, this form is just documentation for us that you are sure that your financing is okay and you don't have to include the condition on financing. Okay, so you're doing both. You're striking out the condition from the offer and you're asking them to fill out the buyer acknowledgement that that condition is not in the offer.
So what I was doing in the past, I always first send to my clients Form 127.
Yes.
That they are not including mortgage condition. And then I send them, and following that, when they sign, I send them an offer where the offer was clear. There was no striking, there was no mortgage whatsoever.
And we ask you to do it twice, both in the offer and the condition in the Form 127. And the reason for that, and it's always been the reason for that, is that people are very good at saying when it is convenient to them and they're explaining their decisions to a judge or whoever it is, they're saying, in the heat of the moment, I didn't realize what the agent was saying. I didn't realize what I was signing. It came with other papers, etc. So at least we can go into whoever is making a decision and say, listen, we explained it to them twice. They were completely aware that we recommended they put in a financing condition. They removed that condition from the offer. They also acknowledged that they understood the gravity of doing that when they signed Form 127. Okay? We're offering you best practices and practices that have saved some of our agents when they're being blamed for things that they did correctly. Okay?
I understand. Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. And Banush?
Hi, Isabel.
Hi.
Thank you for all the information. I have a question. If we are in a multiple offer presentation, so can seller by themselves decide that they can reduce the commission for co-ops, or because it's already mentioned in the listing is 2.5, so the seller cannot change that, right?
That is correct. So what happens is the offer is registered. Once you register an offer or even present an offer, commission cannot be reduced. Commission changes must be agreed to before the offer is presented.
So just so the seller side cannot touch it, but as a co-op agent, if I am presenting an offer and I decided for any reason that I am charging the seller with a less commission, then like I mentioned it in the co-op confirmation of cooperation form, so the listing agent has obligation to tell this to everybody else?
Yes.
That I received an offer with, for example, with, I don't know, 2.5 minus 10,000?
Yep. He
Okay.
has to let everyone know that one offer came in with a $10,000 commission advantage, is the
Mhm.
way it would be stated. Okay?
Okay.
All
And
right.
I have one more question.
Yeah.
So for any reason, imagine that there is two offers, like my offer and another offer, which has minus 10,000 and everything is the same. They don't accept my offer because I don't want to give up my commission and they pick the other one. Do I have obligation to do it? I mean, my client can blame me that why we lost the property because you
No, because
you
you
shouldn't do it?
prepared, okay, so here it is. You have prepared your client, the buyer, by telling them that the seller can accept whichever offer they want, okay? When you find out that there is a commission advantage of $10,000 by another agent, you don't know what that offer price is.
Yes. Yes.
So you say to your buyer, listen, another agent is offering a $10,000 commission advantage. I'm not prepared to reduce my commission. We have no idea what they're offering. However, in the case of the seller looking at offers and it happens to be the same as ours and there's a commission advantage, they may choose the other one. Are you okay with that? And if they say no, then say, well, then I'm afraid you may have to add $10,000 to your offering price because I work for 2.5%. That's my fee, and that's what I'm going to get paid, and that's what they're offering. So you have to be able to discuss that with your seller. They have to know that there is a commission advantage, and they have to be prepared that you're not going to be cutting your commission.
So
Okay?
legally, my buyer cannot, blame me that
They can blame you from here
for
to
any-
eternity.
no, I mean, legally go after me. That's
No,
okay. You should have done
absolutely
that.
not.
No, okay.
No, because you have a buyer representation agreement.
Okay.
They've already
Okay.
agreed to what you are going to earn by representing them. Okay,
Thank you so much. Thank you.
you're welcome. Joanne. Let's see, Joanne, there we
Can
go.
you hear me?
Okay.
Sorry about
Yes.
that. Can you hear me? I'm on the road and I
Okay.
wanted to jump in. Sorry about that.
That's okay.
Isabel, regarding the commission advantages,
Yes.
I had a question. So, with multiple offers, as they were saying, you could have, let's say they send the offers back and now, you know what, you have an agent that decided that they're going to cut back their commission. We have, of course, our confirmation of cooperation that states that whatever that commission is for the offer. What are your thoughts about cashbacks to the clients? So go ahead.
Okay,
Sorry.
you have to be careful with cashback to client. You can do whatever you want with your commission after you receive it. So you can give a cashback to the client. That's entirely up to you. That makes no difference on whether or not the seller is going to accept your offer because they're still paying you the full commission. And what you do with it after that is up to you.
So I think what I'm saying is, upping the price to the previous agent, the 10,000 plus the HST, and to say to the client, look, I can't do this, but I can do that. Like I can give you half of that.
You can absolutely do that. You can say to the client, listen, another agent has a $10,000 commission advantage. Why don't you add $10,000 to your offering price and I will give you a cash back of $10,000 upon payment of my commission. Just be careful to document that with your client.
I was just going to ask about that, Isabel. So is there something that we would need to complete? Like I've never done that. I'm just asking.
We have forms that acknowledge a cash back between a buyer and the agent. We have it in our documents and I can certainly send you a copy of it.
That would be wonderful.
you understand how it works. And when we do cashbacks to clients,
Yes.
we have to have that in writing so that there is no misunderstanding, because we found in the past what is communicated verbally and what was meant can be two different things. So we want it in writing that everybody understands what it's going to be.
So I have one more questions regarding that. So if there's a formal form involved, which is
Yes.
submitted as part of the documents, now when it comes down to the HST and how are commissions dispersed, right? Because I'm assuming now you have directive that I'm not going to get the full commission, or I am minus the 10,000. Can you
All right.
elaborate on that for me?
Yes, so what happens is we collect 2.5% plus HST from the
Yes.
co-op or from the listing brokerage. We
Right.
take our portion off the top,
Right.
okay? And then what is left? And then we do the cash back to the client.
Okay.
And so what you receive is the balance plus the HST of the balance. So you're only HST'd on the amount of commission that you receive.
Okay, so what happens to the HST from
On the
the seller
10,000?
side? Yeah,
Yes. On the $10,000, that HST is retained by the brokerage. We have an overage of HST and we submit it at the end of the year under the brokerage.
so so it would be the buyer's brokerage or the cooperating brokerage, not the listing brokerage that would hold back that HST.
That is correct, because the
Okay.
listing brokerage pays us our full 2.5%
Right,
plus
right.
HST.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, very good. Isabel, thank you so much for explaining that to me.
Hey, anytime, Joanne.
Thank you.
All right. Farshid,
Hi, Isabel. I just want to ask you about the listing agents. I had a situation that I have to reduce my commission for my sellers because I'm a listing agent
yes,
for $4,000. I should sign a letter in writing and put it in the documents for our brokerage that we are returning that cash back to the buyer.
is it a cashback to the buyer or is it a reduction in commission to the buyer?
It's kind
I'm
of
sorry, to the
cashback.
seller.
Yeah, to the seller. It's kind
Is
of
it a
cashback, yes, because of some situation that we had. And I agreed to pay for $1,000 portion of their rental.
Okay, so you're doing a cashback to the seller.
Yes,
So we're collecting all the commission from them. And then you're doing a cashback, correct?
yes.
Same thing. The cashback form has to be filled out so that the amount is clear and everyone has agreed to it. If you were reducing your listing and commission, then we would do a commission adjustment form. It's an acknowledgement to the seller that we're going to reduce our commission by $1,000 or whatever it is. Okay, we've got forms for everything. Trust me on
Okay,
this.
so which form I should fill up for the cashback? Because I would like to tell
It's
them
a
I am giving you
cashback form, but let me ask you something. Was the property sold? Is the property being sold in multiple offers?
No, it was a bully offer.
It was a bully offer. Okay, well, that's fine, as long as it's not multiple offers where you have to disclose that we're doing a cashback. So if you're doing a cashback, it's a cashback form. And it's in our Google Drive.
Okay, if I search the cashback form, I can find it, right?
Absolutely.
Okay, sure. And I
Okay.
have to fill it up, sign it with myself and the sellers and send it to the deal department.
Thank you so much for watching. If you like our video, please hit the like button, the subscribe, and even the little bell to get notifications, just so you can stay in touch and watch more of these great videos.